Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
guys,
How's it going today?
looking to this new episode. How are you?
Are you good? Are you in the chat with us? I don't know. Are you ready to ask some questions today? And what game are we looking at today, John?
Today, Ada Fateh, we are going to play and break down TIFF. Don't know if you guys know the game. It came out a few years back in 2014. And it's a first-person adventure game. You essentially are a thief, like the name of the game. You go around, steal stuff, etc. Some strange things happens in this world, and hope you're gonna enjoy it. And hopefully it's gonna be interesting also to break down.
Yeah, exactly. And
Happy to see you too, Delu.
For those of you that are new to the channel, in this channel we are like playing games. Like Jan from Italy is playing the game and streaming it to me, and I'm like breaking down the art of it, focusing on the level art, dressing, environment art, 3D model, all things around the world kind of thing. And because it's a live stream, you are very welcome to ask questions in the chat, and we will do our best to answer them. And anything else you want to add? Yeah, I think feel free to ask any question related or non related to the game. We'll do the best to answer them. And I guess we are ready to dive into the game.
Yep. Also, feel free to suggest what game you like to see next, because we are taking suggestions, and we like to, bring the game that you like here and break down it. So, yeah, leave it in the comments, or we have a Discord channel that you can join and talk with us directly.
Yeah, exactly. Let's start the game.
There's one thing the city's taught me. You can put a price on anything. Secrets, reputations, a life. And trust? If you have to ask, you can't afford it. But then I suppose none of that matters when you're me. After all, when did I ever pay for anything?
I think it's a game with a story, Fateh. I think it's a narrative game. I don't know if there is an online part of it. Do you know if...
No. It's a single player game. You never heard about it, Fateh?
Got many shiny things. Many shiny things. Do you want us to suggest a game with a story? I think ideally a game with a story, because it's easier for us to just play live and we don't have to worry about other people and other players and etc. And also because usually multiplayer games are more affected by the performance, because they need to perform really good in order to not give frustration to the players when they're playing. So better if it's like a single player game. Secret YouTube stream. Hello, Sloan. Good to see you.
Hey there.
Someone's a bird lover. That painting's more my taste. I should take a closer look.
Oh, look at this So in this episode, though, and we got Jan that is trying to be a thief, and it's like, you know, touching very weirdly
Very
the
softly.
painting. He's a pro. He's a pro. He is a pro.
Yeah, good thing.
What the?
Oh, so
I
here
don't
in
know
the
if you saw the.
in this shot here before going. Oh, I didn't go full screen. Oh, I think Photoshop just crashed. Yay! All right, go back to the video.
It's the first one.
Nice. It's the first time that Photoshop crashed. No idea. Let me restart Photoshop. And probably if you work in this industry, you know how often software like this crash.
Noise next time.
I'm surprised because Photoshop was the first time.
Basso did tell you we were working together on this, right?
Well, I showed up, so what do you think?
I think you haven't changed a bit. Come on, it'll be just like old times.
Yeah.
Can I handle the
Do you
beauty of
want
this
me
game?
to stop?
Can I handle the beauty of Jan? That's what it is.
Should I go?
You can go. You can go. I'm gonna try to see if it works.
Garrett, come on.
Yeah, okay. Seems like it's working now. So I'll see you next time I have a chance to look at something. Actually, I'm gonna. You're going down. Okay.
Glad you could make it.
Did you
Is this environment influenced by Assassin's Creed?
be fun?
Can it be?
Come on, let's get
Might be, but like usually when you're making an environment or when you're making a game, you don't want to look at other game as a source of reference, but you would rather look for
Shadows, Lady Lamplight.
look for like a reference outside the game, because you know the game have been through another direction and has been through a lot of iteration and a lot of you know things that made the game in that way. And if you take inspiration from the game, you're gonna get the same kind of result, which is something that you don't wanna have. Like a bit here, I took a screenshot here in this scene here, which is the first time I think that we are, you know, there is like a wall here, which is like in this game apparently we have this functionality that we can lean and check what's going on before we even commit to do the corner. And one thing that is really cool here, as you might have already guessed it and seen it, is the paddles here. And you see how, because we got a light behind that, you can see there the light shining from this thing, which probably was giving a nice highlights and a nice like rim light to this guy when the guys were standing here, just to make them sticks out a bit more. The light, because we have this brighter area of the screen, the light bounces to the puddles and then it bounces to the camera, which is you know, we've been talking often about puddles and how to get the most out of them in terms of lighting, and I think this is a really good things. And one thing that they did really good here in this specific case, and I think something that I recommend you to keep an eye on it, is whenever you add puddles, try to make sense of it. So like in this case, you can see how we are outside, so it can rain. So you can imagine like the rain going down there, and you can see on the cobblestones that there is some sort of maybe there is some sort of deformation, and also there is a grid here, which is probably a drainage point, which is really good because with all these elements, we are learning that in this world it rains, it fills this area, and then the drainage allows the water to escape and go down to the sewers or whatever it is. But some part of water gets trapped, like in this case, and you can see how there is this element that is sort of blocking the flow of the water to the drainage. And I think that's a really cool thing. So long story short, when you place puddles, try always to add some elements around the puddles that gives a bit more context about the puddle. Like you can have a broken pipe that is leaking water, you can have a manhole, a drainage hole or something, and you can connect the logic of the puddles in a better way. Let's go back to the game.
Why not do a job well done first? We can't just leave the cart out here. It's festival time. Your average thief will be under a table in an ale house.
And the watch will be liquored up too. I'm not haggling fines with a drunk god again.
So many shiny things.
And shiny things indeed. And I think that lights in this game plays a big role in terms of when you are in stealth, when you are visible and things like that. So the placement of the lights
Jealous of the clock?
in area where it's safe and it's just like a narrative and a traversal area. Maybe it's just like from an artistic point of view.
You'll have to catch me
But in
first.
places where there are enemies,
Surroundings.
it's probably
Taking in the sights, Garrett. It's about taking in the
it's probably also because of gameplay. So if I take a screenshot here, let's see if I get did I get it?
You do still
Photoshop is being a beast today.
Only since before you could crawl.
All right, let's get going.
There's the Garrett I know. How about a friendly wager? Let's see who can take in the most.
So
Look at
noisy.
these pipes.
Ah,
Look what I found. You and me out on the town? Why did we stop doing this again?
Do you really need this?
so if I stop this play here, I don't know if you noticed how was the movement of the playing environment, but we were from a top-down point of view. There was a house here, something like that. There was like a platform here where you were coming, and then there is another house here or something. And then she is like on that ledge, which is like somewhere here. She's like here. And the good things about having this sort of flow is that once the player turns the corner, the camera will automatically face this direction, which will frame where she is in a very good way. And I think this is something really important that we always try to do whenever we have the chance. We always try to make the flow in a way that when the player turns the camera, it will sort of frame things in a I guess nicer way. And in this case here, the subject is her, and she's standing on that like on this like ledge, wooden ledge here, whatever. And the fact that we are turning around here, it forced the player to look left and to see her, because if the same scene was happening in a different flow, so like instead of going around this building, we were going straight, the camera was always faced like that direction, so we could have missed it. So whenever we have narrative areas where characters are saying things, or we see some interesting shots, interesting vistas and things like that, we always try to direct the angle of the camera in a way that allows the player to experience that view. I think it's pretty straightforward. And then obviously, like in general, also the architecture of this this area here is always like very leading, because the perspective of things, like it's in right in a good place there. You can see how all the lines are there. Obviously, this is like part of how we frame the subject, so it's like kind of removing part from the screen, so it allows you to focus only on her and on what she's saying. And I think and because it's a thief game, it's so very dark, so they can't really push the light too much, especially on character, because they are supposed to be stealth. They're supposed to be like in the shadows. So I think they use the atmospheric fog, as you can see behind her. Like you can see like all this white thing behind her. Also at the bottom there, you can see it's very visible, and that's in order to create to detach. To create some sort of plane from plane of her character with a background, so that the character sticks out a bit more because it has a darker value. And I think this is really important. But every time you try to make an environment, if you're making an environment for game, you always need to be conscious of this sort of tricks to have. To kind of control in an indirect way the camera of the player to see what you want them to see. Let's go back to the game now. Every time I go back to the game, Borto is like, oh, damn, I have to play again. It's like a job for him. He will like just to do memes all the day, but...
It pays to keep a low profile in places where I'm not welcome. There's a lot of those places.
So if I stop the scene here, you can see how I made a tutorial a while ago about the textile density. Probably some of you knows about it. And the textile density is the amount of pixel you see in the screen. And let's say that you have a screen which is 1080p. All right. Actually, let's make things easy. Let's say that you have a screen that is 2K by 2K, so it's like a square, right? And you need to, in a game, you need to identify how close you get to the screen. So in this sort of like first-person game, you get very close to the walls, which means that you need to have an higher resolution of texture in order to maintain the details. And usually on first-person game, you have a 1024 pixel by 1024 pixel per meter, which means that if this is a meter, whatever, how this is, this is like 1 meter, and this is like 1 meter, and then there's another meter there, another meter. The resolution of this of the texture that is being tiled in this area should be 124 in order to maintain a good texture density. And that's a thing that we do in order to keep the world consistent and to keep all the object in the same like density of pixel, because otherwise you will see things pop out a bit too much and you will see weird things. So because we maintain the same resolution per meter, we are kind of able to blend better the things together and make things less detached. However, you probably see here how like the details of this handle thing are much higher than
guys.
Someone donated. Thanks, Father, for donating. Really generous of you. I got scared for a second. I heard the voice. I was like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, thank you. So what I was saying here is the handle has a much higher resolution. You can see all the details of the handle here is much higher than the resolution of this door here. You can barely see like the details. I see they're very like not details. usually like lines are much more visible and nice to see in even with low resolution, because you can align the lines to the pixel, so you can have like a sharp line even if you lack of pixel. But as you can see, these assets here has a higher resolution to the rest of the environment, which makes these assets stands out more, which is something that we also do. So even if the texture density of the game is 1024, the object that you interact with, the object that you can pick up with, or that you can pick up, or you can do something as a player, we tend to have a higher resolution. And in this case, that could be, probably it's not 2K, probably it's just like, I don't know, maybe let's call it 2K, so 2048. So imagine there is like 20, which doesn't mean that there's a 2048 pixel texture in here, but it means that a 1024 texture applied in this small object will have more density, because the pixels is going to be much more like tight than how they are on the background element. And that's a good thing, because players interact with it, so we want to have details. We want those elements to stand out a bit more, because we want the player to understand what they have to interact. So there are different ways to do that. And I think this is a good example how all the environment follows like the same sort of the same texel density, and the handle of this door is slightly higher in terms of resolution. How will you establish the correct resolution? I made a tutorial about this. If you go on my station, or if you go on my station, you should see the tutorial. And if you like to see it, just let me know. And it's just like usually it's not, you don't have to establish the good texture density. You just need to make sure that you understand the concept of it first. And for example, if you're making, and I'm gonna try to simplify, if you're making a square that is 1 meter by 1 meter, and you're using a texture that is like 1K, and 1K is like 1024, but let's simplify 1K. We're gonna have 1024 pixel per meter if you're using that texture in that cube, on that like polygon there. But if you're using a 2K texture, so let's use the 2K texture. Let's do a slightly bigger 2K texture and use it there. Then it's gonna be 2K per meter, which is higher. So that means that if you take the model, and instead of having 1 meter, you go 50 centimeter, which is half, and you apply this texture here. You need to make sure that you don't just apply the texture over all the object, but you need to apply just a portion of the texture. So it needs to be like something like that, right? So imagine these are the UV of the texture, and that's the 1K. And because this is like smaller, you can see that. One thing that you can do in the 3D software, there is this checker texture, which are literally like texture like the chessboard, which are black and white squares, and that's gives you a really good visual understanding if you have a consistent texture density within the object, assuming that all the texture has the same resolution. Because if they have different resolution, then there is another thing. But yeah, if you check the tutorial, I hope I explained this. I think a lot of people understood the concept from that tutorial, so please check it out. Hope that helps. Sorry for this long explanation. Let's go back to the game. Okay.
If you're going to urinate in the street like a watchman, at least do it out of the light. Everybody can see you.
Did someone fart it?
Yeah. Yeah. You heard
Oh,
correct.
was it you?
No, it was the game.
Cool.
So how much did you steal?
It's not how much you steal. It's what you steal.
And how you steal it. Looks like this primal stone thing that Basso wants is in the ceremony room at Northcrest Manor.
It's the Baron's mansion. Won't be easy.
Worried?
What's going on in
Yes,
this
so
scene?
should you.
I'll be fine. I'll pick up your slack.
This job's getting more complicated by the second.
I'm gonna take a screenshot here while the game is loading. One thing that we do often in the game, especially in the not in the interior spaces, so in the outdoor spaces, is to create some sort of landmarks. So in this case here, you can see how we got this castle or ruins. I can't really see that, but they're very iconic because they're very different. They don't have like this like angle. So you see them, and you always see them in the background. So you can orientate as a player where you're going, what direction you're going. And another good thing that we do to guide the player to certain location, again, especially in outdoor places, is to have things like smoke like that, which is always there to signpost directionality or like where you have to go in a certain thing. Like in this case, I think that's just the end of the cinematic, and then the game is loading. But whenever you have smoke in a game, usually it's like, I don't know, you got the smoke here or something that is like sticking out, and you can see the silhouette of it, and it's creating like shape. And you probably know that you have to go there, probably go around and go there and then find it. If you played the game from Naughty Dog, like Uncharted 4, they did a really good job on this sort of thing. And yeah, I really recommend to play that, especially the level where you are in Africa and you're with a car. They did a really good job because they have these vast environments. And thanks to the smoke, they were able to guide the players in certain locations. Let's go back to the game.
That's a lot of guards.
They're definitely not here for the summer festival dance. A lot of guards means a lot of steel. Thieves and swords do not get on well.
I've never had a problem with swords. But then again, I'm not just a thief.
So like in these kind of things, that's when there's a cinematic going on, and then we know that the players are gonna be in that location or looking at that thing, because that's when we give the control to the camera again. And especially like in this scene, they like in this scene especially, they give you a view that gives you a good understanding of the layout of the space, so that you can assess the situation and understand what's the route that you're gonna take to accomplish what you need to talk about, like where you need to go. And in this case, it's pretty cool because you got this source of light coming from there, which is highlighting these guys moving, and it shows like because there is this source of light here that creates this brighter value on the floors and on the walls there and here and there and there. You are able to spot a lot of details around this scene, which is like the guard here. I don't know if this is a guard, but like this guy here, and etc. And yeah, in general, like from this location, where we try to give you enough information to understand where you can go. So you can see there is like some sort of a ledge here. So maybe you can walk on it. You can see there are stairs going up here. You can see there is like something there. So maybe like there's something hidden down there you can go. I think there are stairs here or something. Like you can see there's like a higher platform there. So maybe we can go around and get to there. We can go there, we can go through that, we can go probably on top of this, and maybe, I don't know, there is another something there. Maybe we can go there and then climb it and go around somewhere. So we try to give players a lot of options, and that's very important because as a player, probably you experience that too. You feel like cool when you're like trying to figure out how to accomplish the objective of this specific bit in your own way, and it makes you feel good. So yeah, I think that's a very good point.
So we have a couple of questions by Fatih. Maybe we should introduce them with the,
This is a test donation for
sound.
$71.
A test donation. Big
That was in
fails.
the
I like how it takes like always like 1 minute to introduce the fact that you're about to do it, and then there's like this high expectation and
I
fail.
did it wrong. Yeah, I'm a slow guy. So, Fatih asked a question related to the other time when we were talking about atlasing textures and so on. So he asked, what about to select a part of a map, texture map, I guess, and tile that single part from 0 to 1 in this case. I guess the general question, correct me if I'm wrong, Fatih, but is how do you isolate a part of an atlas, let's say, and do stuff only on that part?
So let me turn on Photoshop because I guess we need some painting on this. Just a second. No. All right. So from what I understood, it's like we got this amazing texture, which I'm gonna describe with a color yellow, and we are saying that there is elements on the texture, like things like that, or things like this, and then you are asking, Fatih, how do I tile only one section of this? So like, how do I tile only this part of it, for example? Is that what you're asking? Is that what you're referring to? That's not in a comment, just yes or no. And if that's the case, I think there are different ways to approach this, because and this is probably I don't know if you are familiar with the terms. This is called trim sheet, and it's basically a texture that it's made in a way that you can repeat it. So you got like stripes, for example. It's very used especially in architectures. You got like elements here that are repeated and they do something. There is some, I don't know, decoration, and this part, it loops to this part here, and then you got the same thing with different elements, something like that. And in the same way, this part is also the same part as the other side. And then, you know, you can have like things like that. So like in this case here, we can also have, I don't know, a checker thing. And again, this part is connected to this part. And, you know, lastly, this. And in this way, if you have, it's all a matter, like if you have, you know, this, let me find, right, let's imagine we got this object here that is like that, and then we are then making it like this, and basically those are the edge loops. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's this object here is like, I don't know, a part of a sidewalk or a pavement. So what you can do, you can take this side here of the UV and just you can decide to map this part there, for example, on this location like that, like this. And then have like the edge, which is gonna be there. So these are the UV there, and then with this one here, you map it somewhere around here, if it's enough resolution. Yes, somewhere around there, if you have enough resolution. And so what happened when you do that is that on the top you get the details like that, and on the side you will get a trim that goes at the bottom like that, which is nothing, which is this, and then on top of that you will have like this sort of elements. And then on top of that you're gonna have this part here. So you're gonna have another line, goes like that, and then this part here, which is gonna be. So that's how like the trim works, and even if the UVs goes outside the texture, it will be fine because the texture will be like tiled regardless. So you can go outside that, and so I guess that's the way to tile, and I think you can only tile the texture in one direction. No, I mean, like you can tile in both directions, but if you're making an atlas, you are restricted to tile the mesh, the texture only in one direction, because you know, in this case, this atlas, this like atlas of trim sheet here, it works because the left side is connected with the right side is connected with the left side, so it creates a sort of a loop, and you can tile the texture on that direction. Same for this guy here, like this bottom part here, you can see how the bottom is also going back to the loop there. So if you tie whatever in there on the horizontal axis, it will work, but you cannot do that in the vertical axis because you're gonna have other elements. But if you're making a trim sheet with vertical lines, then you can do the same on a vertical line. It's just a preference thing. And yeah, so you can really use like you can really tile like an atlas like that. You can only you can only tile on one direction, like I just say. If you want to tile a texture, you just make a full texture that can be even maybe smaller, and based on how many times you tile, you get like the proper texture density, and that's what could be here. Or as Ross was saying, but this is like a bit more restrictive for reasons, is that let's say that you want to tile this specific texture here, this like red one here. What you can do is let me draw another. So we got this cube, I guess, with this nice green that we can barely see, and then the UV of that. Let's take like this face here. You can map this face here like that, and it will have, you know, those red stripes there. But that's not what you want. You want to be able to tile it more. So what you will have to do, you will have like to take this and add edge loops, as many as you want, like that. And you suddenly, instead of one face, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 phase. And what you do, you take each phase, you cut them with a scissor, that's the scissor, cut them there, and you basically put the phase 1 here, and that's the phase 1, and then you put the phase 2 on top of the phase 1, and then phase 3 actually. But that's like not a good practice, because when you have LODs in the mesh, which is LODs are level of details of the mesh, which means that this mesh, when it's far away, it will probably have just one edge loop, for example, right? So you end up with 4, and when it's even further away, the same mesh will not have anything, which means that you might lose the harmony of how you use the UV in this UV set because of this reason. Yeah, so it's kind of it will kind of work with the LOD 0, but with the LOD 1 you might get some trouble. LOD 2 even more, and LOD 3 is like even more. So I would rather use something like that and tile that. I think that's a better way of saying it, I think. I hope that helps. Let's go back to the game. Yeah, share on Discord, and I will have a look.
Over here.
Huh?
Oh,
Help the new boy, will you? He's been trying to light a fire basket for 10 minutes.
What am I, his father?
Go on before he sets fire to himself.
Oh.
Who's creeping about?
who's creeping about? Oh, just like that?
Yeah, just like that.
So if they catch you, you fail?
Yeah, I guess because it's the tutorial.
If I take a screenshot here, for example, while Jan will try to figure out this piece, you can see how, from a level design point of view, we added a light here that creates a nice silhouette here, and it really makes this guy stands out a bit more. And also the fact that we have this other light in the background, the background becomes so much brighter, which makes the silhouette of this guy stand out a bit more. But the reason why we put light is because the eyes really loves to look at the contrast, and so like lights against the oh, look at this nice eye. Lights against the dark. So in this case here, that's the most contrast area of the scene, and that's in fact where we need to pay attention to, because we need to be aware that there is a guard here, and we need to be stealth. And because this is a tutorial, they really emphasize that by adding like this strong source of light. Go back to the game. He just waited them to catch him. Yeah, he was like, oh, I want to be kind with this guy. I want to give the NPC some happiness. Ooh, look at this.
I should know better. My family used to be charcoal burners.
Oh, yeah? That's work you don't see much since the factories came.
What? What the fuck? Okay.
Is he not seeing you?
I need to take him down quickly, quietly, and alive.
How old is this game? 2014.
Why'd you kill this guard?
Yeah,
He was
14.
better older than you.
He was a guard, Garrett. Wrong place, wrong time.
You haven't changed, have you?
What's that supposed to mean?
I think it's
It means
still going
I
strong.
don't kill without.
I don't know, it was more for the AI awareness.
Uh,
But not me.
well, that was scripted, so
Maybe you know that
Yeah, no,
guy
it's
who
like
wake up later and follow our trail to cause trouble.
When any guards wake up, I'm usually long gone.
by the way, it felt pretty stupid.
let's see.
Ah, okay.
If you're so eager to leave,
Oops.
maybe I should go first.
Good job. I actually bought a lockpick tools.
Lying on that claw.
Oh my gosh, it was so fast. I bought one from Amazon.
Why?
Actually, if I take a screenshot here, I think it's pretty cool because the way that they use the light here is pretty nice. You got some sorts of light on the background here, which really has the details on these scaffolding elements, which suggests us that maybe we can use the scaffolding, and then we see her walking here, which I guess she jumped on the other side or whatever. But what is really nice about the lighting in this location is that it kind of comes towards the players, and you can see because of that how all the elements of this wall stone and wall arches and things are very well highlighted, and that makes this area much more detailed and much more interesting. And now we know that there is an arch here, and maybe we can go through that, maybe not, I don't know. And you can see there's a pillar there, and obviously lighting really give us a sense of details, and the lighting tells us where the details are. So in this case I think it's really good because it really attracts the eye to see in that direction there. And I think there are also bottles there that maybe you can get to make noise, and maybe those are there for they're there against the bright background so that you can see them more, and maybe this is a tutorialization for using those. Don't know, we will see. And yeah, let's keep going.
So why did you buy?
Can you not use the bottles there?
Yeah.
You
picked
can.
one.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand how should I
Okay.
select the bottle. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when they told me. Oh, 0. Okay.
So I bought the lockpick tools because at the time I was working on The Division, which is The Division 2, which is a post-apocalyptic world. There's a crisis and everyone is on the street and you have to fight for yourself and survive, etc. And I was so into the world of a post-apocalyptic universe that I was like, ooh, what if something like that happened? And I felt like, locking, being able to pick locking locks could be a really good skill in that scenario. And that's why I decided to buy one of them.
So you are prepared in case of an apocalypse or a zombie invasion.
Pretty much. So if I stop here, maybe it's a bit late, but I think it's a good example here. This is another chance that, as an environment artist or as level designer, level art, whatever, we have a chance to know where the players is gonna be. because even if it's not visible, we put some gate, like some gameplay gate, or like on the arches there, which doesn't allow you to go through, or maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe not. But what's really cool about it is that because we're walking on this platform here, we know that the player's gonna look there, and you can see right off the bat how. And again, this is maybe was better like a few seconds before the shot, but you can see if we draw like the classic rule of third, that really helps to that. Like it's an easy way to frame things in a nice way. You can see how the guard and the location of the guard is right on one of the third, which is really good and nicely composed. And again, talking about lighting, like my job is not to add lighting, but because my job is nothing without lighting, you need to learn a lot about lighting and how light works and things like that. But you can see how here, because there is a light probably behind, I can't really understand where the light is. Probably it's like behind there. You can see there is a rim light there, which shows you, which gives us a sense of depth and tells us, oh, there's something behind there. And the same way is the arch highlighted here. And you remember at the first part of this bit here, we were able to see the arch, and in fact that's where Gianluca went into it. And you can see how, there's another thing there. But most importantly, there is another ledge on top of it, which maybe might be connected. Maybe we can somehow get to it. So after that, we can either go down that way and then behind, and then go behind. Or maybe from there, we can get on top and then keep going that direction. They're like endless, I guess, possibility. And I think, so far they did a really good job in signposting those elements. In my opinion, I think they're really cool. And sometimes for the level design reasons, we place objects like this, which are a bit like out of context. Like you probably are familiar with the fact that there are crates and barrels in a lot of places, and sometimes when we can, we try to contextualize the cover with the surrounding environment. Like in this case here, the cover here is it's part of the architecture, right? So it blends in really nicely. In this case here, it's a bush next to the garden or whatever. In this case here, it's part of the architecture, and we can keep going like that. But like what I'm saying is that whenever you place cover in your place, in your environment, like try always to integrate them with the space that you're making. Like crates and barrels in the middle like that, it should be like the last resource that you use. So it's fine. But yeah, I think, try to contextualize them and try to add a sense of why you place them. And if you can't, then try to add some storytelling on why these crates and barrels are placed in those locations. And the reason why these are placed so often is because in this game, but like in other shooting games, so like cover-based game, you need cover in order to traverse the space, but also AI needs cover in order to behave properly when they move around. Like in this case, I think as soon as they see you, you lose. But in other games, AI is fighting with you, and AI needs cover as well in order to be able to behave in a smarter way. Let's go back to the game.
So Fateh asked if this arc, I guess, was lit by a spotlight in the screenshot that you took before. I guess it was more of a pond light rather than a spotlight, maybe.
Yeah, I guess like doesn't really matter as far as it does the job. And what it matters is that you don't want to make a weird like looking thing. Like, one thing that is really cool here is still talking about lighting. So there is a really strong source of light coming from where we don't see it. And you can see how all these elements are very, very bright. Very, very bright. And that's literally a look here kind of thing. Contrast. And it works really well because that's actually where you have to go. And in this environment here, we got plenty of hints. We got a lot of leading lines that are going straight. So you can see like these beams that are going up. This like scaffolding thing that are going up and then going in that direction. In general, we got a lot of verticality in this location here, which is, I guess, what we have to do. And that's, in fact, if the player is looking straight, we want the player to kind of look up. So we try to give reasons to look up. And the reason why we want the player to look up is because, that's where it goes. And how do we tell the player how to climb this? So you can see this is lit, it's white, and it's like standing out, and there is a rope coming down, which is like barely visible. You only see the rope because the sky is a bit lighter, because the fog, there's like some sort of fog or mist or something behind, and that's where you can see the thing. And I think they did a lot of playtest, and a lot of people were getting lost. They were going back to the guard, and they were trying to kill the guard, and the flow wasn't as good as they were like planning it to be. Because of that, they added also extra way to climb up. So we got this grid here that probably is like a grid that you can use to climb. But another thing that we have is like this decal here at the bottom, which is common use in games to signpost the directionality. So in this case, you can see how it's going up, and you can see another one here. And probably there's the same like scratches going up, and that's to signpost players to go up. Go up like that. So either that or that. So again, you got plenty of way to traverse the space, which is I think a pillar that you see in this game. You got plenty of possibilities, and because probably the rope wasn't working when they were doing playtest, they also add a second way to get up there.
So I don't want to interrupt you, but the left way that you were talking about is actually you can use that if you have a tool that at the beginning of the game you don't have.
Okay.
But
the girl use it.
The girl with you use it. So I guess they just wanted to make it, just want to make sense about the scene, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess, like in this case, if the girl uses it and goes up, probably the girl is signposting you and like foreshadowing the fact that you soon, like you in the future, going to be able to use that. So they're teaching you before you even can do those kind of things, so that when you have the tools, you can just do it, and because you saw that doing it. But definitely, if you have the girls going up, that's a really strong guiding part of this scene that tells you, okay, that's definitely where you have to go up. So then you're gonna look for something, you're gonna see this and like, oh, I can use those, which can be confusing because the player might get close to it because they're familiar with game and they're like, why can I climb this? We're like, why those signs are there? So that might be a bit confusing, but maybe there is a VO, which is like a voiceover saying, oh, I need to find some tools first, or like something like that tells the player that they cannot yet use those. And then they're like, oh, okay, then I need to figure out another way to go up. And then they use the rope. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, this thing. Cool, let's go back to the game. I'm talking about the fire and the lighting. I think as far as the light makes sense, you can use either point or spotlight, torchlight. Obviously, you try to make sense of it.
You could kill faster and make mistakes faster. I get it. You're not in control.
Your character is so wise.
Let's just get the
That's so
job done.
boring. So yeah, this is the tools.
My
Oh, you just
that
stole
I
it from
was
her?
talking about. Yeah.
So she can do crazy things.
Mm.
Ah. Oh my god.
I'm guessing that's what we're after. The primal stone.
Robes. Robes are always a bad sign.
Brothers Cornelius, Aldous, present the keys.
Let's burn Northcrest.
Brothers of the Awakened, we are gathered here to usher this city into a new age. One of progress and industrial enlightenment. Let us begin the channeling of the primal.
My god.
Semblance.
It's happening.
Rakakan. Ganna.
Scamamakana.
Come on, let's go down there. This will be fun.
No. We're done here. Job's over.
What? Are you joking?
Something's not right. It's too dangerous. And you're not ready yet.
You know, I'm not a kid anymore. I can do this. I'm going down there with or without you.
No, without this, you're not.
Ooh. My god, it's an intense moment. Oh my god. While all of this is happening. And they also saw you, they saw you.
Don't move.
Oh my god.
Garrett, I'm slipping! Ah! Garrett, use me the claw!
No.
Yeah. That remind me of Indiana Jones. Don't know why.
Oh. I like how you use someone's.
As an anchor. Yeah. Oh,
Intense? Intense? Couldn't say anything. So intense.
Hey. Looks like he's waking up. Come on. Stop slacking. We gotta get him in the city.
the lockdown. Why are we always playing games that have lockdown involved?
Then we'll be rosy. Where's this car going?
Bakers and Stone Market.
Was I talking to you? Hey,
My god.
moving. Fucking beggars. Makes you miss the old watch.
We are living in the lockdown, and it's not fun.
It's not fun indeed.
Stop the nightmare. The gloom's getting worse.
Everywhere.
Okay.
The Bulldale.
So what happened? How from everything collapsing we got to this place?
Don't know, but we're gonna skip it, and we won't understand a thing. So let's keep.
There we go, right in the beginning here. We got this nice shot here. You can see how many details we have here. And so first of all, we got some nice light here. which is kind of on a warmish kind of thing. You can see how it's been yellow, and everything else is a sort of cold, like the atmosphere is cold, which creates a really good gradient between the light, the warm light here, and the cold one, the cold like atmosphere, which is super cool. But the light there, it's also signposting this element here, and thanks to the specular of this metal here, you're like, oh, there's a ladder there, which is somehow closed. Maybe I cannot go there. Maybe yes, I don't know. But at least you know that there's a ladder, and at least you understand that there is something to go on top of it there. And that's something like really cool. And another nice things that we see here is a bit of micro storytelling. And you can see that there is the trees here that that doesn't have leaves because it's probably full. And the reason why we know that is because the light is behind, so we understand the silhouette of it and everything. And you know what happens at falls? The leaf falls on the ground, and you can see how there are some leaves around there. There's some leaves scattered around, and probably because of the wind and things, leaves will be like everywhere. But because we got some broom thing here. See that? We got some broom. Probably someone was here cleaning and moving. You see, probably you can see the leaves here. Probably here somewhere, and I guess they are also on this side. You can see how someone moved the leaves from the center of the path to the sides, so to make it cleaner. And I think in general, this is like a really good, micro story that you need to add to your to when you're making environments. And most of the game has it, and it's basically the logic connection between the missing leaves, the leaves fell down, and someone with the broom cleaned the leaves on the side to make it tidier. And I think that's a very cool thing. Also, if you see here the plants, the potters, here you can see all the plants are sort of dead, which is another indicator that we are probably in a season where plants are not dying, but like going losing their leaves and losing their greens, apart from the evergreen ones. And that's another thing connected to it. This is pretty cool. So you see how in this shot there is so much depth in terms of storytelling and micro stories. And this micro story is not the the narrative. The game doesn't have nothing to do with what happened in cinematic. It's just like to create a believable world full of storytelling. Because if you're walking outside if you go for a walk, if you're in your place, you will see how things are placed. They all tell a story, and they all like tell some information about what happened and what else. Lastly, we got some branding elements, and as I mentioned in other episodes, branding are really important to ground the environment that you're making to the idea that we have in mind of the world. Because in our world, we see branding everywhere. Just if you look at your desk, you probably have the logo from your monitor, the brand from your computer, the brand on your phone, the bottle of water that you're drinking, the microphone. You got all these little things that has logos, that has numbers, that have labels. And, we understand that and we got used to that. So if you make an environment that lacks of those elements, the players might not relate as much as an environment that have those elements that can create that link, regardless of when the environment is set. So like in this case, it's probably, I don't know when it's set, but probably like 100 years ago, maybe less, maybe more, I don't know. And yeah, the fact that we can see the branding, it kind of strengthens that connection that we have with this environment and makes it more believable. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And I also like the fact that we don't have building everywhere, but we got some breathing space, which is like here. We can see a bit of the sky, and yeah, creates like a bit of breathing space that kind of point us down there. We got some interesting shapes with the pipes and things that also guide us down there. And there is also a door here it's very wide against the black walls, which is maybe where we have to go. And because of the 1 point perspective, there are a lot of strong line leading to that direction too. So you can see that. You can see that. You can see on the branding too. And also on all the lines of the stones. And here too. So maybe like I assume like this is like a secondary thing that you can do, and maybe there is something on it, or maybe that's another way to approach the view, and maybe that's the way that you have to go normally. And one other thing that is interesting is how the fact that the building with the lights it's somehow connected with the building where the door is. So I'm wondering if by getting to that door we kind of get close to the light or not. We'll see. But yeah, like all these like elements in this scene are things that you need to try to have when you're making an environment. I think they're very useful. Let's go back to the game. Oh, look at those brooms. Can you go up to the ladder that we saw earlier?
The ladder.
Okay, so that's to hide.
Yeah, the ladder, I think. Oh, wait.
I feel like I can think and act faster than normal when
There's
I
something
concentrate.
here.
What happened to me?
Do we have this supernatural thing now that highlights important stuff?
You see again the scratches there? There you go. So you wanna go to- You see how there's always like scratches at the bottom of where you have supposed to climb, so that you are signposting that. Which is pretty cool. Now we got the tool. Ooh, look at this
So we have
zoom.
a landmark there.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like is this London? Is that the clock
should be.
tower?
Yeah.
So,
The Big Ben.
yeah.
Should
As,
be
as always, if you have questions, feel free to ask, and we'll do our best to answer them.
I can't make sense of this order. Lock yourself.
Homes with
Oh,
home.
sure. Can't I jump? Okay. Maybe I shouldn't jump. Oh,
Shutting the city up like this
snap.
won't stop them. We're only sitting on the common.
The watch have locked down Stone Market. But when did I ever let a lock hold me back?
Feels a little
Welcome some home coffee.
same vibes of Dishonored.
You've just bought me another day in this pit.
Yeah. Thank.
Good. Why? You could have.
Because I could.
Garrett's new home. Sloan is saying that tower is Garrett's new home. So you see how like Borto is playing? Like he had the scratches in front of him and he didn't see that. So maybe like putting the scratches lower.
There's something wrong with me.
No. I'm saying like because it's normal that the players don't look at the sky but look more on the floor. You need to make sure that the scratches or the visual language of the navigation you have, it will be framed with the players looking kind of in front of them or slightly lower. like John was saying. John was doing. Zeus.
What are you looking at? Price on that jeweled mask. Be enough to feed 100 squawking mouths for a year. Don't you go catching a conscience. I could cook
So if I block here, then I will look at. So again, like we were saying earlier, we got a landmark, which is very important because they always give us the sense of where we are in the world in relation to that. And I think it's very good. It works really well. And yeah, and I think we saw that in the previous scenes too. We got a sense, a strong sense of directionality in terms of perspective. You can see the strong line here. That are like all leading to this, and then we have this sort of plane with this arch that is kind of suggesting us, oh, that's maybe where we have to go. And another thing that kind of reminds me that maybe that's where we have to go is the fact that the red has only been red has only been used here for these banners, and I think there was another one next there, and for these things. And in fact, when we were looking at that small cinematic scene there was the guards talking about how precious the jewelry inside that was, and there was like a good framing on these banners and that location too, which suggests me that that's where we are actually going. And guess what?
What?
That
cables?
No, that location is right exactly in around one of
the rule of third. Oh, damn.
You can see again. See how, again, this location here, which is like the main focus, and you can see how's the main focus because the red, because of the directionality of the perspective, because what was happening in the cinematic, and because where the characters are, which are there and there. I think that's where we have to go. And when I'm talking about leading lines, like the perspective line here, those lines are things that will come naturally with the shape of things, but you have a sort of control, and the control that you have is, for example, here you can have different materials. One is darker, one is brighter. That creates lines. You can have lighting placed in a way that create high contrast with this line. So yes, you have them naturally because of how perspective works, but you can also make them more visible and, make them more effective by, having variety in terms of material. We have contrast with the shadow and lights and things like that, which is pretty good. And yeah, and another logic thing in this scene that I noticed is that you got smoke here coming out, which is just, I guess, environmental things to add in the scene. And because we have smoke inside, like coming from there, we know that there must be someone inside there with a fireplace, or with like a what do you call it, like those things that you have in the house where you can have a fire. And in fact, you can see how the windows are lit, which means that someone is actually inside, and someone is and it makes sense because there is smoke coming from the inside, which is so connect those two logic things. And you can see how the shops are all not on, because that's not the time of the day where shops are open, which so probably the owners of the shops lives on the second floor, and because of that the shops are closed, and that's pretty cool. And Yeah, and like lastly for the shops, like they could have gone just okay. Let me use red. Red. For the shop, they could have gone just like a straight classic shop thing with things in there, with like the different display thing. But instead, they create this sort of things sticking out, which you see somewhere here, I guess. Something like that. And you can see all the elements here. And I think that's a really good way to give more character and less 3D kind of look to the scene, because having something sticking out like this, it's much more organic and realistic than having just a cube, because ultimately without those elements this house is just a cube like that, right? But because we got this shape sticking out, it gives more sense of depth. And then in the other case here, we got the top of the rooftop ending and creating this interesting gap. We got this canopy here that is also sticking out, which is giving us more sense of depth. And yeah, as much as you can, try to break that sense of 3D when you're making an environment. Same for this here. You know, you can see how they are really helping to give more like organicity. I don't know. To give a more organic feel to the scene instead of having just like bare 3D shapes. Go more like, you know, like it has a better design. And yeah, I think it's cool. Let's see where we're going from here. See crates everywhere.
Ooh,
You didn't even lose it.
Yeah, but it was like a pretty bad situation there.
I saw you were able to go inside the shop there.
No, it's close.
Oh, that's close.
Just because I remember that it's close. I already played. You need to enter from the back.
Ah, okay. Slow hand gives you a 10 out of 10 for your stealth skill.
Thank you, Sloan. I know that you really appreciate when I'm doing great things like this one.
Oh my god, look at this. Oh, so a nest with coins? I guess some birds try to steal shiny things.
What is this place?
Oh my god.
Where am I going?
I don't know.
Okay, let's keep going then.
See, same like visual language for the white thing. Where are we? I'm lost.
Me too. Let's improvise. Okay, I guess we are where we should be. Oh.
Sloan is saying that you are a better player than he thought.
Am I?
I guess you meet and exceed his expectation. Which one is the best thief game?
And I never played any TIFF game, so Sloan, feel free to tell us which one is the best. Maybe as a thief I shouldn't knock out so many people, but well, you know.
These things. He said that he loves the first one, but the second one is really cool too.
So I don't know which is the classic code that they use, 0, 4. No, 4, 4, 4.
Maybe you should just look around. So that could be like a good, interesting things to find. Let's see if you can find a code around here.
Maybe it's not here. 451. Let's see.
Is that the code?
It's Zan said that this game it's I guess it's not okay. Well, let's move on.
Yeah, let's see if you can find it. Let's see upstairs. That's so cool. Makes you really think.
If I had a lady like his upstairs, I would not let the bed go cold.
Indeed, Ross. Indeed. Ross is saying that you know how to massage paintings. I think I agree with you. There's a light switch on your right.
What?
There was a light switch. Like that. Oh.
Like how we went down.
I like how we went off track from the narrative. I was just like, oh, what's this? What's that? What's this room? What is this environment? We were looking at the arches with those guys, the shop, and then we went inside this hard deck, and now I don't even remember where we are now.
This is the shop.
This is the shop?
Yeah, we are inside the shop.
The one that the guys were saying, oh, there must be something.
Good find.
Yeah, this one.
This is the wrong game.
Yeah, probably. Let's switch. Here you go.
Now we're talking.
All these beauties. I'd lift one myself if I didn't need.
So if I stop here a bit and we look at something. So right now we are inside the shop and we remember from the cinematic that the shop has some red fabrics and red colors. And as you can see, I guess, my bad, I didn't notice that, but like everything, not everything, but there are a lot of red details. There's curtains there. Also in the other room, there was carpet. Also when we were coming upstairs, there were the stairs that had this carpet on it. And, these are really good way to give a sense of where you are, I guess. And yeah, and I think in this case, you can see how this space, this like space that we are right now in this ground floor, with these red carpets and with this sort of, I guess, props that we see here, which is probably where they keep the jewelry, is very different from what we were able to see downstairs. So you can see how they got these like display cases. Oh, display cases there, and painting. So it's very like customer oriented space, where downstairs was very like, oh, I'm fixing things, there are tools to fix things, and stuff like that. One thing that it's really good that I keep repeating every time is always try to blend the details from like what we were saying outside about the three-dimensionality of the house. Also in the interior, you want to try to break that sort of box effect that you are in an interior, because literally right now we are inside a box with a hole, and that's what the interior in 3D is. So because of that, we need to try to break that sense of box. So what makes us think about a box? The fact that we see those angles of the box. So like if we look inside a box like that, imagine like this is the box that we are inside. Amazing perspective skills. We are like a bit on the side. All right, that's the box, and there's a door there, which is cool. So we are in this box here. So the things that makes us feel like we are inside a box and we are in a very 3D space are these elements here. So these lines here where the walls meet with the ceiling and the walls. And one thing that we can do to reduce that effect is to add the things that helps blend these two here. So for example, if we add like a banister or something like that, and then we add like a skirting that's sticking out, suddenly we don't have a line anymore, but we have much more interesting details going on. Yeah, same for the ceiling. Like in this case here, we got curtains coming out. So imagine we got curtains here, and the curtains is coming out like that, and you can see how curtains is another element that breaks that line and try to to break a bit the line with that. Also, other very important line that you want to try to break are those lines of the box. So as you can see right in front of us here, we got another good example how there is not just a straight edge, but as a much more depth in terms of information. So even here you can you can have like, instead of having a line, you can have a pillar, and then you have another pillar, another thing, and then you see this thing here. It also goes on this side, it also goes on that side, and it goes like through these things, and it creates like an interesting thing, and then whatever it is. the skirting, and also on the carpet, for example, you can see the same thing as the carpet is literally just like the carpet and the object are really just cubes and plane, right? So even there we are trying to remove as much as we can that feels of it. So you can see how the carpet has the red area on it, and then has something around the red area, which is like that, like little brighter contour, which is like this thing you can see here. And instead of making it just a plane, it's like a bit more than that. And I think in general, when you're making an environment for 3D, or in general in 3D spaces, you want to try to remove these lines. You want to try to hide this line as much as you can. Like, basically, for these 8 lines that creates the box from your point of view. And if you can hide them as much as you can, that's the best thing. Like, you can see the pipe here. The pipe up there. We use this color. These pipes here are there not just because, but they're also there because if you look at them in this little diagram, pipes are going here, and they're going that way, going that way, and they're breaking again that line one more time, and they create depth, and they create the sense of it's not just a box kind of thing. And you can see also up here, all these elements are also here, like to break those lines. Then we got things like that. I think this concept is clear because it's a very important concept. Try as much as you can not to make a very static box, but breaks those lines by overlapping shapes, elements, color, materials, things like that, so that you kind of feel more in a room rather than a box, because that's what you should be trying to achieve when you make an interior space. Let's go back to the game.
So in the meanwhile, I stole everything. And not as another person.
Nice. La, la, la. So we're about to finish it. Like in 15 minutes, we're gonna end the stream. So if you guys have other questions, that's the right time. It was speed running again, yeah, in the background. It actually didn't speed run in the background. It just did it very quickly. It was so quick that you blinked and you missed it.
So as we mentioned before, if you guys want to see one of your favorite games next, just let us know.
Question: what happened to Twitch streams? Well, so after doing some math, after like checking pro and cons, for now we believe that it's easier for us to have everything in one platform, so the streams and the video on one platform, and also because you can't really stream on both platforms, as you were telling me, and we feel that YouTube is the best platform for this content. Maybe, what do you think? I think we're gonna try YouTube for a bit, and if we see that it works, then we keep this direction, or otherwise we will reconsider. We're always open to improve. Ross is saying too much confidence in stealing things. I'm wondering where you get this confidence.
Oh,
oh, what?
I can't even see my own feet.
I can see my own feet. But people are very smart in this game.
okay.
So one thing that I want to stop here, which is pretty cool, is you can, if you want, you can keep going and find out how to deceive those guys. So one thing that is very cool here is the fact that they're holding a light that is casting a shadow of them on the which is kind of funny. Look at like those like tiny legs, and then flex.
Okay.
You can see his shadows there, and it's really cool because the NPC are moving, and because they're holding things, the light is moving, which means the shadow is moving and everything is moving. And then this sort of movement is something that you want to try to achieve in many ways in your environment as much as you can. One thing that you need to be aware of, though, is that movement brings brings attention to where the movement is. So yes, try to have movement, but try to focus the biggest movement in your environment where you want the players to be focused on. Like in this case, we got rain coming down, that it's creating this very dynamic thing. We got this very huge shadow moving around, which is pretty cool, because a lot of times we see lights as a way to lit things, but shadows also make light also makes shadows, which is something that you can use to add more details. So if you put the light behind the fence and you got the shadow of the fence on a wall, that wall suddenly will become much more interesting if that's the case. And with the same idea, you can use lights behind objects that moves and rotate, so that you can add a lot of movement and a lot of things like movement and information to the scene. Other ways to add movement in your environment, if you're making an environment, can be fan spinning. So if you have fan or flower spinning, you can have them spinning in like something. You can have a piece of cloth or piece of fabric moving with the wind. You can have cables dangling around. So you can have like this thing moving around. You can have from a pipe that looks like it's been broken or rusty. You can have water dripping. You can have rain. What else can you have, Jan?
Don't know.
Okay, you can have flies flying around lights, I think, and like eating them. That's more like a VFX things, but it could be cool. Obviously, having NPC animating is another pretty cool thing. And what else? Yeah, I think there are a lot of ways to achieve things. Like wind is a good one too. Dust moving in the space. We were looking at vampire the other episode. There was like dust that was giving a sense of movement. You can have like hanging cloth that are like moving and creating sort of moving with the wind or something, which can be interesting. And there are plenty of opportunity for you to add those little things to add movement. You can have TV moving, like the screen in the TV of your environment, changing image and showing something dynamic can be also another good things. Light flickering, so it's like when the light is flickering, it's like a good thing to add movement, and it's very effective because not only you are attracted by light, but you're also attracted to movement. So having a light that moves and flicker is also good things. So yeah, there are like plenty of opportunity for you to add environment, and I think they did a really good job here signposting and bring awareness to these guys, because they're moving and they're making these huge shadows on the wall, which is the wall that you're facing, and a wall that is very contrasted because it's very lit. So you will see, you will definitely not miss the light, which is pretty cool. Let's go back to the game.
Yeah. Answering the chat questions, YouTube keeps the videos up after live stream, so that's one thing that was the main interest of us, that our content was keeping up in a platform that people could rewatch easily our content, and also to maybe, you know, Google promote videos on the suggestion tabs and stuff like that. So maybe it could be easier for us to reach more people on YouTube rather than Twitch right now, because, you know, we just started, so we don't have much following on Twitch.
Yeah, and also like other pro and cons that you know, like in general, like we're not trying to, you know, get rich with this. We like, from my point of view, is like try to help other artists getting better to the industry and bring the game dev, the industry, you know, a better place, so that we can focus on better things and so on. So I think I think YouTube is a good platform for that, because when artists search for resources that can help them to, you know, to understand things, they usually Google them or search them on YouTube rather than Twitch. And another problem with Twitch that we found is that Twitch, because it doesn't save the VODs, it's a platform that is very hard to advertise on social networks, because it's very time related, because it doesn't really make sense to advertise a Twitch channel if you're not live. So because we don't do live stream of 10 hours, but we do live stream of 2 hours twice a day, it gets really hard to time the, you know, the social interaction with when we are being live.
Yeah, exactly. And Twitch, you know, once you have completed the live streams, the VODs are up for like 2 weeks, and then they will vanish. So because Leo tells so many interesting things that we don't want to waste, we want to keep it up in on YouTube, obviously.
But yeah, again, we are still discovering, and we'll see. Also, YouTube is doing these short things that can be interesting format to make like short video of a live stream, so that people can get small bills. We'll see. We'll see.
So we have a birdie friend since.
By the way, earlier we reached the landmark, right? We reached that tower, and that was the completion of that stage of the game. So again, that's another reason why landmarks are important to guide and also to give a sense of progression.
It also seems from the recap of the mission that I'm an opportunist.
You're an opportunist, indeed. So I think we can stop it here. Let's go back to the... I hope you guys enjoy it. If you want to see other games that you like, please let us know in the comment, and we will try our best to play those. And yeah, this is an interesting game, and we will ask you, Slowhand, which one of the TIFF was your favorite, and maybe we will play that at some point. And as always, for the next following 7-8 weeks, we will not be able to stream on Tuesday because of reasons. So we will only stream on Thursday. So just stay tuned for those things, for those dates.
Or in any case, just follow our, maybe the Discord server is the real source of truth, you know. So to when we are going to stream next.
Exactly, and if you hit the bell button, you will get notified. Obviously, you know that. A lot of YouTubers say that, and now I think it's a good time to remind you to do that too. So hit that bell button and smash that subscribe. And yeah, I think you guys. I hope you guys learned something from today, and if you haven't, please let us know. Because we are doing this for you to learn, and if these are not working on that point of view, we will try to improve and change the direction of these live streams. And do you have anything else to add?
No, it's so good.
Ah, look at this tone of voice. Alright, so let's switch back to the end screen, which is this. And as always, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Have a good day. Bye bye.